Who is Yumeko Suzukiri, and why is she such an important character in Ranger Reject? Suzukiri, since the beginning of Ranger Reject, is one of the more mysterious characters, with her motives never really being known. We knew what she wanted, but not the reason. This leads every interaction with her to be shrouded in darkness. Out of the entirety of the cast, she seems to have the most unshakable resolve, never questioning who she is or who she needs to take down. This is the biggest strength in her character that helps to enhance why she's so interesting every time she's playing her part in the story. That's why today we're gonna talk about who Suzukiri really is. But first, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, as it helps to spread this video in YouTube's algorithm and get more people interested in this amazing series. Back to the topic at hand though. Our introduction to Suzukiri shows how smart and resourceful she is as a character. She's able to identify that D isn't human based off of social cues alone, recognizing things that Sakurama didn't. I spoke about it in my video about Sakurama, which you can check out if you want. He didn't know D was an invader. Even after overhearing D and Suzukiri's conversation, he still wasn't sure until D confirmed it himself. This shows how attentive in nature Suzukiri is. I do think it's fair to point out that she did spend more time with him than Sakurama, but that's not necessarily the point. Since her first panels in the manga, she seemed off. Like, what she does here doesn't fit with how her character acts towards anyone else in the series, and it fits with how she's later shown to feel about D. Upon this reveal though, she asks D to work with her to destroy the Ranger Force. She spends the rest of their time together here, asserting dominance over D, culminating in blackmail, that she can essentially reveal what he is at any given point in time. This leads into a conversation about what kind of drama D likes. This one-off line from Suzukiri seems insignificant, but it does carry a pretty hefty weight for her character.
Don't you feel bad for the rivals? Who wants to cheer for the main character who's going to win no matter what?
This line is a lie. She doesn't feel bad for the invaders. D is just a tool for her to use to get to her end goal. An end goal that is proposed to us at the moment as obtain the divine artifacts. But why? This particular question is answered over 100 chapters later. But for now, that's all we need to know. Outside of dealing with invaders, we don't know how strong Suzukiri is, but she's not scared. She watches the Red Ranger kill his second, but isn't afraid to stand up to him. This is the Suzukiri we've come to know in the anime so far. Based off of that alone, we know that Suzukiri is a manipulator, but also someone who's deeply motivated by whatever her end goal may be once she receives the divine artifacts. This is also the point where I warn you that past this point contains spoilers, so if you're anime only, I hope to see you at a later date. After the Dreamy School arc, with D finding out who the Green Ranger really is, him and Suzukiri once again team up in order to take him down. One thing I want to point out here that seems of little importance at the moment is that while they're tracking down Chidori, D asks Suzukiri what she's going to do with the divine weapons once she has them all, and her answer is just
nothing in particular. I just want to collect them.
Which is a weird answer, but something that makes complete sense once her secret is revealed. She then pokes at D's resolve to see how ready he is for the battle ahead by asking if it was his first time being on a date, with D replying that they're about to kill Green. Suzukiri's only response is, so you are prepared to kill people. D isn't the smartest character and can be easily manipulated. We saw a similar tactic to this with his interaction with Sakurama when he asked for D's name. There's no time for that now, as they have arrived at Green's house, where it looks like he went home to his family. Another line here that is overlooked in regard to Suzukiri's character is that she recommends the fastest way to take Green out would be to get rid of the entire house. The house in which we just saw what she can only assume is an innocent woman and a child inside of. Suzukiri is cold. She has a one-track mind for her goal, whatever it takes, no matter what, which seems a bit evil, doesn't it? Suzukiri spends the rest of this battle, at least the parts that she's in with D, trying to test his resolve. When two of the unranked rangers who D trained with show up, he doesn't want to fight them, and Suzukiri asks, what's the point of a fighter who doesn't fight? The most important line of this arc, though, alludes to what's really going on, is when Suzukiri says this:
Seems like you can picture it now. A vision of your life coming to an end, but we live in a world full of life, which means some meet a fate far worse than death, all because they can't die. Can you picture that?
This leads us into the reveal of Suzukiri's secret. During the Invader Rights Association arc, when everyone begins their invasion, Suzukiri alone sneaks into the IRA's headquarters, searching for a very particular room. Once entering this room, we see that it's full of clones of Suzukiri. With no explanation at the moment, she apologizes to them and goes to terminate their life support. Why does she have clones? What are they for, and why do the IRA have them? It's because Suzukiri is the last priestess. Up to this point, we've discovered that the divine weapons were made from body parts specifically from that of a priestess, those who served the dragon gods. So the revelation here is that the Ranger Force has cloned Suzukiri in order to make divine weapons. They keep her alive for that sole purpose, as she is what makes them strong. The lesson she learned that life is precious is what makes her release the clones and leave with them. It's also the same reason she just wants to collect the divine artifacts, as she feels they are a part of her. In this arc, we get a lot of flashbacks of a character we can't actually see, but she seems to have some parental or mentor relationship with Suzukiri. This is a character who we haven't gotten any solid answers for yet. I want to get into a bit of theory crafting here though, because I believe what I just said was wrong. Earlier, we saw a small girl with black hair and a tube in a flashback. We can only assume this is another priestess, most likely from the Suzukiri clan. During the Green Ranger arc, we also saw a quick flashback when Suzukiri saw Green, where we see "Stay Back" and a name that ends with Ko, but the beginning is scribbled out. In the IRA arc, as she's getting ready to terminate life support for the clones, there's a thought bubble with what looks to be the same name. Then the flashback where we see the line, "Life is precious just by existing." Although we can't clearly see the people, there's a woman with braids similar to what Suzukiri is wearing now and what appears to be a little girl in her arms. I think I had this flipped. I think Suzukiri was a parental figure and this girl was her daughter or little sister. Could you imagine if the Ranger Force killed your daughter or little sister and then forced you to live on for their use alone? This adds up. This makes sense as to why she would want to destroy the Ranger Force. They took everything from her, continue to use her, and won't let her die. What puts a hole in this theory is the fact that Suzukiri's first name is Yumeko or Muko. But why would they censor it if that was the case? She could have also just taken on the appearance of someone she looked up to. Just something to think about, I suppose. Her part in this arc, however, ends with her apologizing to D, telling him that she no longer wants to fight. Suzukiri is a complex character, one who exhibits coldness, but at her root, there are things she simply cares about too much. This is what makes it so easy to engage with her character. It's what makes her an entertaining part of the story. Her presence in the story isn't quite as strong as Sakurama's, but she's still a huge part of it. The strange part about Ranger Reject is that you have two main character trios, the most important being D, Sakurama, and Suzukiri, the second being D, Hisui, and Usukubo, although with the second you can interchange Usukubo and Chidori. But it allows for more team dynamics than your normal anime. It's an interesting change to say the least. That's all for this video though. Next, we'll talk about Hisui, and I'll have a special guest on that video. As always though, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. Otherwise, peace.